Welcome to the 2023 Prodigy Presents Waco Annual Charity Open. I'm Andrew Fish, joined here by Nathan Queen.
Yes, and it's a fun track that we get to watch on the front nine. Got to see a bit of struggles and a bit of clean smart golf as Paul Oman shooting a clean 4 under par. What's your favorite part of that front nine?
I think when you tuck into the woods and play hole 4, like that's the real taste of the beast. And then we're going to get into another couple holes here that they're just hard. It doesn't matter what the conditions are. They're hard.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. You see Cole Redallen making a pretty good push and Calvin Heimberg still sitting right there in second.
Yeah, a lot of the field still in play. Hole 10, definitely a scoring opportunity, maybe even eagle if you're ambitious. 591 feet, pretty straight, no out of bounds to speak of. But especially if you tuck off to the left on your drive, it's going to make accessing the green difficult. And then left and long of the basket, a pretty severe drop-off.
Yeah, and we've got Paul Oman on the box here after a great birdie on 9. Bit off to the right early, but ends up back in the middle of the fairway. Going to be a good shot.
Yeah, the operative thing here is getting your disc flat for a long time. Paul did that nicely. Wow, pretty big yank by Brodie, and that's going to kick to oblivion. GT playing a hyzer flip off to the right, and that should access the green maybe 280 in.
I think this might be my favorite tee shot out here. You know, it's not the hardest, it's not the easiest, but it's just a beautiful tee shot. Get to throw over a little ravine into some green grass that's under some tree cover, not something you see all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. A hole like this could fit on just about any course in the world. And make it a better one. Or,
Brodie,
at the least, a more picturesque one.
Yeah, absolutely. Brodie is able to get out of the woods, but puts himself over on the right side. Not in the best position. Going to be looking to get a bogey at this point.
Flat release to slight stand up, and a little bit of ground play, and the comeback putt still from inside the circle for Oakley. GT with the mid, pretty well thrown.
Paul again with another great drive. But comes out with a little bit of an early release on that one.
Yeah, that's squandering a scoring opportunity with the round he's putting together.
Nice touch forehand there. Should put him in position to card his bogey. And Paul actually does push a bit long. He did go down the hill slightly, but still inside 25 feet right there.
Stop leaning, dude.
GT exhorting himself to stop leaning.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some players, as soon as they let go, can say what they did wrong. And sometimes it's a blessing to know. Sometimes it's a curse. You can think about it too much, Earlier in the round, he told himself to stop thinking. So, maybe he's thinking too much about the things that he's doing wrong.
Yeah, and those are just some demons we all battle here and there. With the way GT putts, it's a push putt mostly that's coming out on a hyzer angle. it does leave the catch zone a little small on a basket like this that wants the putt center and hard.
Right. Moves us to hole 11, 279-foot par 3. Again, another somewhat small gap to hit, and you've got to avoid this tree that's just perfectly lined up where you want to throw it in the middle of the fairway. If you play off to this right side where the drone is at, you have a better opportunity of a level putt with the basket. Throwing straight at it, you have a good chance to go down the hill on the left side.
Wow, Paul playing the drifting shot, left to right movement, and rewarded with a circle putt.
Outside, nice shot.
GT playing more that right side. Does get some skip forward and up to the left, should be around circle's edge or so.
Oakley does a pretty decent job, but does get cut down late. I'm not surprised to see these two play with their forehands. That definitely runs into the slope a little more favorably than a backhand does if you get it all the way to the basket.
And hard to say if that was a real run or not on that one. Kind of a strange distance to run it with the treacherous green that you have here.
Yeah, I think among players, this one's a little bit notorious for weird reactions.
I've seen my fair share of weird reactions on this one. All
Paul
right.
with the big stretch. Yeah, nice birdie.
Oh, and something we just saw on hole 10, kind of a similar uphill putt that he pulled off to the right, and now he's missed the comebacker as well. Might be a bit in his head here.
And in the past, Eric has kind of been the player who will let things spiral on him. He told me that hole 10 was still in his head as he was putting on this, kind of turning one mistake into another hole's worth of mistakes. But it does speak to the maturity of, who Eric is now, that he's owning up to that. And, he battled back pretty good from a rough start.
As GT stares that one down, making sure it's in the basket for his par.
Hole 12, snaking par 4. You're going to throw off a ledge, and if you can still see the disc flying, you probably threw it too far left. The idea is to get down here on this flat, and then the fairway is going to continue up a hill and right. This hole has so many ways to say, you almost did it right, here, take a 5.
Yeah, absolutely, which used to be par. So you would be like, all right, I got out of here with the 5. But just with the par change, now you don't feel like that's okay anymore. You've got to at least get that 4, and that is going to be very difficult to do from where Paul just went to.
Dude.
Uh-oh.
Forehand also an option, but in either case, you do have to hit the gap. Brodie going to the zone. I'm interested in this play. It's not going to get as much ground action, probably can't go as far. And that's going to leave him a little bit too right to access the green in 2.
Yeah, do you think he went zone to try to avoid going right?
Potentially, or to prevent going long into the stuff. If you're in the left, or if you've thrown it too straight, you kind of have to burn a shot pitching out.
And I'm not sure where Paul was at over there. but he is now back into the fairway. Still a great distance to go, though.
Good shot, bud.
GT,
Wow.
well thrown. Yeah, he in theory could get a par from there with another good forehand or backhand turnover. Paul's going mid. I think this is conceding a bogey, which is a great golf play at this point. Just get to the bottom of the hill and try to pitch up maybe 120 to the basket.
Yeah, trying to go for anything more than that from where he was at is just going to put you in the woods somewhere.
Backdoor.
So Eric,
Yeah, Eric does get the back door.
yeah, got over on that just a little bit, but sneaks on through. And that does not sneak through. That's the kind of the trouble of that right side. You have more space to swing your arm. You're not pitching out, but you've got all this to mess with. As you see, this is about what he was looking at a moment ago.
Do you feel like some of these release errors we're seeing from the card are contagious? Like, if you see a card mate mess up, does it get in your head?
If you've already had some other things get in your head during the round, then yes, it can definitely. you hear people talk about the vibes on the card, and if you're starting to notice everybody hitting trees, that can kind of trend towards the vibe of the card.
Yeah,
but definitely
or if you're not having a great. Go ahead.
All right, definitely possible to break that though. It doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Definitely can happen.
It's the power of suggestion when you're already not in the zone.
Good effort.
Pretty good effort by Oakley, but unable to cash in.
So is this a par chance right here?
Wow.
What a par! Are you kidding me?
From where he started, like, that is huge. That gets a round going.
Big thanks to my sponsors, Infinite Disc, Thought Space Athletics, Clash Discs, and Whale Sacks. Birdie Fuel Coffee, collaborating with European Birdies, Disc Golf Strong, you name it. Big thanks to Gatekeeper Media for being out here and grinding it out with us. Some of the best, so make sure you guys are commenting, subscribing, help them grow. It's awesome. Cheers, everyone.
Air Spectrum is Prodigy's new line of premium lightweight discs in the mid-range, fairway, and distance driver models. You can now get beautiful bursts of color no matter your preferred weight. Bag one today at prodigydisc.com.
All right, into hole 13, back out into the open. We've reached the wind again, coming off of the Brazos over on the left side. You got OB right with the road, OB left with the sidewalk. There is a Mando that usually doesn't come into play that you've got to go left of, but get as much distance as you can off of this tee pad, and then execute your upshot.
In the past, we've seen this play as a potential eagle opportunity with the tailwind. It's a little more crossy today.
Oh, that fell out of my hand.
And Eric saying that fell out of his hand. I'm not sure if he is trying to play a left side gap over there. That has been a play for some players in the past.
Yeah, I actually go for one of those left gaps with my lefty backhand a lot of the time, just to keep it away from that OB right side, as Paul gets a very nice pull off there, gets lots of distance down the fairway, big skip to the left side, wide open. Wow, what? I didn't know. That was even further than I thought it was.
Yeah, you see the disc fly, and then we pan across. Paul's going to be probably putting to the basket, if not trying to make.
Yeah, I think that close you can try to make it. There's not too much super close that's going to stop you.
Yeah, flat green, depending on what the wind is doing, he should have mostly tailwind to work with. Brodie works his way out to the left side. He's going to be left with, I imagine, a zone forehand in.
Eric, a bit of an awkward stance on that side hill, making that footing a little more difficult, but executes nicely inside circle 1.
I feel like this is flashbacks to the way Eric played his first couple shots on hole 2.
Yeah, early and then awesome.
GT finds some high stuff and lands in early circle 2.
Look at this drive. Oh, and definitely wanted it. He gave it the height for it. Just pulled it off to the right a little bit. 73% of the field carding a birdie or better on this one, as GT Hancock, longest putt of the group, able to connect. Finally gets a birdie on that card after what has to be what feels like an entire round of pars.
Yeah, you see the big exhale from there. Like, that's a relief to get your birdie.
Yeah, and using that momentum from that great par save on the last hole. As Brodie taps in. Paul should tap in as well. Gonna get another one of these diamond frames. And shout out James Conrad, who was able to get the eagle on this hole today. Circle 2 putt, gaining strokes on the field.
Yeah, great for him. Hole 14, just around 300 feet. This is kind of dealer's choice. Going to see a lot of flex forehands and some mid-range backhands. Playing with a little bit of tailwind today. There is out of bounds left, right, and long. In the past, it's been lots and lots of forehands, but a couple newly planted trees, such as that one, are making that forehand line a little more challenging now and a lot more challenging later.
Yeah, looks like it's turned into a pretty straight shot, unless you want to go up, which you usually don't want to do when the wind picks up.
Very well thrown by Eric. Good speed control. This looks like some manner of rock from Paul. Plays the right side and funnels to the bucket.
Yeah, hole 12 after errant tee shot picks up his first blemish of the round, but quickly bouncing back with the birdie on 13 and what looks to be on 14.
Wow, Brodie really counted on the overstability of his disc, and it didn't disappoint. Gets him to 25 or so.
Yeah, it really didn't look like that was going to come back, but eventually it did, and even got a pretty good skip.
GT with the par save. And with the tailwind, this hole usually plays pretty easy. Like, because this is a linear park playing along the river, the wind tends to be upriver or downriver, making entire sets of holes play mostly uniformly.
Yeah, and this is 14th easiest today, or excuse me, 14th most difficult. 53% of the field able to get the birdie. But definitely an easier one. Once you pop out of the woods, you know, you've been in the woods from 4 through 12. You get to 13, 14, you really feel like you need to attack. And then you move on to 15, where with this tailwind today, we might see a few players try to attack. 558-foot par 3 nowadays. You really got to decide, is it in your head, do you want to go for this too? You've got OB all down the left side, OB all down the right side.
This looks like a go for it shot to me.
Yeah, and he'll be rewarded with a layup, most likely.
Paul not quite as aggressive. Does get himself inside the fenced area. And I don't like this. This is really, really high with the crosswind that could push. I'm terrible at reading. That's well inbounds. That's on me.
Yeah, it did look a little bit high out of the hand. This is, I think, typically more the height that you see. And he also well inbounds. So Eric Oakley only really the only one on the card that attempted to get the two. Might have a look, but it's going to be from about 70 to 80 feet.
Brodie with a zone to a little bit deep. Does have a headwind comebacker. And Nathan in the wind, it's pretty important to think about the direction of where you're landing relative to the wind, right?
Absolutely so. There's certain times where being short or being long is not going to make a difference, so you can just kind of try to get it close to the basket. But when you've got wind like this, you really don't want to have a putt, and you want to make sure that if you do have a putt, it's with the wind that you prefer, most likely tailwind. So Paul going long here gives him a much more difficult putt, but I guess he likes that. He's going to go ahead and can it and get his par.
Yeah, certainly capable, but it's just a little more stressful to make headwind putts. It makes your nose angle more specific. You got to putt it harder generally. Well done so far from these guys.
Yeah, and shout out Ezra Robinson and Aaron Gossage, the only two birdies on this hole today.
My name is GT Hancock here at Waco. Thanks to my sponsors Prodigy Discs, Ideal Discs, Putt Confidently, Big Country Beef Jerky, Local Line, and then Eccentric Crow Dyes out of Fort Worth.
Another birdie would seal the win here. Yeah! For $35,000. Congratulations, Ricky Wysocki, your Pro Tour champion 2022.
Hole 16. We're going to play a little bit downhill, certainly with mostly a tailwind. There is out of bounds parking lot to the left and sidewalk to the right and long of the basket, which is elevated. An eagle opportunity if you're willing to be aggressive, but it's possible that we'll just see some disciplined shots, 450 or so, and then relatively routine layups.
Yeah, this has always been one of the easier holes on the course. Just kind of wide open here. There's not too much to worry about. Oh, man. Unless you throw 540 feet or so and can reach that sidewalk.
Yeah, I think something neat about Waco is that once you get above a certain distance, extra can kind of only get you in trouble.
As Paul Oman, nice flex shot, gonna outdistance Eric Oakley just by a little bit on that one.
Brodie with the walk away. That looks like more of a little layup, and again finds a newly planted tree.
Yeah, and that's about what you want from GT there. Nothing overzealous, doesn't try too hard.
Yeah. Don't get yourself in trouble on by far one of the easiest holes on the course.
Oh, and comes out low, but gets the good skip forward. Gonna be up there for a birdie look. with another long eagle look. And with the tailwind pushing as hard as it is on this one, a little bit tough to give that one a good bid on this elevated basket. Hard to get it to float enough and still make sure you're not going to have too tough of a comebacker.
Oakley able to tuck in the left side. Oman in, and as close as those guys were, means we've got some true bullseye tap-ins for GT and Brodie.
Yeah, lots of green showing up on the scorecards all of a sudden. And Ezra Robinson and Robert Burridge able to get the eagle on this hole today. Ezra birdied 15 and eagled 16, so hot streak for him right there. Moves us into hole 17. Very unique hole right here, 610-foot par 4. If you can get to this tree on the left, somewhere around that, that's your ideal landing zone to give you hopefully a forehand into the screen or a soft backhand depending on what wind you've got, which is going to be kind of headwindy for this second shot.
The consensus among every single player out here is that this is a good hole. I didn't speak to every player, but it's pretty hard to get universal acclaim for a hole from touring disc golfers.
And a prime shot from Eric Oakley there, pushing that OB long, but lands in the wide open, absolutely nothing in his way.
Oman with the backhand. That plays tougher in this wind, but gets himself to a throwable spot. Brodie goes wide forehand. He told me this is a real measuring stick for his game, like just being able to put himself past the twin trees that are at the landing zone.
Start your engines.
Yeah, I've always thought it's kind of scary to push yourself past those trees because that OB there, the ground slopes down towards it, and if you get that skip and roll, I've seen quite a few go out there. But it is a good spot to be at, don't get me wrong.
I could have done that jump.
Ha! That'll be fun.
Yeah, good framing. Paul, very backhand dominant player, and doesn't get the turn he expected.
Oh boy.
It's tough to read what's happening out there, whether it's crossy, heady, and manage your nose angle. Brodie looked at a bunch of different options here. Wide forehand, flex forehand. Opted to go with this buzz.
Yeah, surprised to not see forehand there, honestly.
Kind of a low ceiling. I think he was a little too close to the trees to feel like he could throw wide around them. GT, that's well done. Gets himself into the circle. You just have to have so much trust on this shot.
Yeah, you see Eric looking at the water. He's not looking at the basket. He is trying to ensure that he trusts his disc out over the water and still not quite able to get it wide enough. It's a very difficult thing to do. Mentally, more than physically.
And Paul leaving himself a little bit of a tester for bogey. Brodie with the zone to bullseye.
Oh, and I know the feeling on that one. Wanted it, just didn't quite give it the height. That scary OB behind there. Paul able to clean up his bogey.
You see about 4 expressions of frustration from GT there. He's kind of seen it all on the green today. A lot of pars.
Yeah, I like the head scratch. That's my favorite one right there.
Sometimes that's all you can do, Nathan.
Yeah. He's probably going to give it one more scratch and then move on to hole 18.
Yeah, and as the sun starts to set, hole 18, one final test going over the water. You can either lay up to the left side or try to carry in one. Gonna play with a pretty severe headwind with some left to right cross. And then the basket perched no more than 20 feet from the inlet of the Brazos River here.
And that disc flipping over to the right like that should show you the difference in this hole from yesterday when we played this hole. Got that headwind coming at you. Gonna play a lot harder today.
That was very close.
Brodie playing zone says that's very close. That was very close. But good layup to layup play.
Yeah, that went pretty far as the layup play goes. So he's going to have a very short up shot. Should be in great position.
Oakley
GT
C,
also-
GT do.
Yeah, there you go.
No funny business.
That's more the typical layup distance that you see. A nice putter across the water, not too high. Try to catch that hill. He did not catch that hill. Gonna have a very scary comeback putt to get his par.
Yeah, this is a really delicate upshot. Because you absolutely can't come up short. But you have to kill all of your speed not far past the basket.
Oh, and that is scary. But it does hang on. Oh, man.
I
Wonder if
I
he
know
meant
these
to
guys
do
are
that.
good. I know these guys are good, but I don't love the forehand kind of going at the water.
No, not with that ground slope. That's what worries me. Just the way that it can hit that right to left slope into the water and roll in. But it seems they're all right there.
Yeah, we're going to see a couple of par cleanups for Oakley and Hancock. Paul taking a couple steps backward in these last two holes, but still going to finish at 5 down.
Yeah, and you talked earlier in the round about Paul choosing to lay some things up. That was always for his par, though. Making the decision there to lay up for the bogey.
All right, so good work out of all these folks. Paul Oman at 15 down overall in 16th place. We see a couple tied for 22nds, and then Eric looking to bounce back in round 3. Still well within the cash line right now. Adam Hammis out to the lead, and we got a pretty great card tomorrow of Nate Sexton, Paul McBeth, Cole Radallen, and Kyle Klein.
Yeah, gonna be fun to watch, and you see, yet again, we've got these log jam scores. So could possibly be chase card victory or even from below. Look forward to seeing you guys during this round 3 of the Waco Annual Charity Open. For Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen, and we'll see you guys out there.